We had a lot of this. We call it the fissure. We had a lot of shots with this fissure, and we were a little bit concerned about. You can see so far in the fissure, so we were a little bit concerned about how to generate that for so many shots, and you normally see a few miles down the fissure. So we actually came up with what we call a little library system, where we basically took a chunk of the ravine or the fissure and pre-simulated it, and then pre-simulated dust for it, and even a few things that could fall over. And then we generate a few varieties of these blocks, and then we just repeated the blocks with a little bit of offset in timing and so down the fissure. So initially our plan was for each of these blocks we would simulate the top surface as well with the road and the buildings and cars. In the end we realized that it's pretty forgiving with the dirt kind of collapsing, but you could quickly see repetitive patterns, or the director wanted specific things to fall down and add an extra house here. So after we had the fissure, we started hand placing things that we just threw over the fissure. And because it was all free falling, they didn't really interact that much with the dirt. So we could simulate them separately. The big slabs were actually modeled and hand animated, and then we went in. If a big slab lifted up, we would go in. The effects team went in and shattered the edges, and we used the same kind of tools that we generated the blocks with, but we would then add just crumbling on the sides of those. So it was all custom made. It was only for 2 shots, so it was a little bit of different pipeline, even though same tools were used.
As it turns out, it's only visible or it would have been visible in one shot that actually is in the film, where California is sliding into the ocean. I don't think we actually crumbled the building, but unfortunately I think part of the plane's fuselage is actually on top of that area. So unfortunately Dee Dee, as far as we know, does not get dunked into the ocean. What I really had wanted to do though, when Santa Monica Airport gets collapsed, there's actually a very nice restaurant that a lot of us go to called Typhoon. And it's right there on the runway, and I wanted to get the building in there and destroy it and put us in the windows, but unfortunately it just didn't work out.
We almost had Dee Dee in one of the shots actually. It just went out. It was in there for a while, but then the camera got repositioned a little bit, so it's not in screen unfortunately.
Ultimately, in almost everything in visual effects, it's always about audience expectations. Typically, if you watch the Discovery Channel or anything where they're actually going to show what a real earthquake or a real volcano or tidal wave, anything looks like, normally it is, sometimes it's more spectacular than you would imagine, other times it is oddly subdued or subtle. And typically, obviously these events, we only see them very, very rarely, and so the audiences typically in their minds are actually pulling off of their other experiences in life. So if you see a glacier shatter, your brain starts looking at like, well, what does glass look like when it shatters? Or something that I know what it looks like when it shatters. And so you then start trying to push towards what the brain is expecting. So in something like this with the earthquake and the buildings falling over, it's trying to more tap into what the audience would either expect or what the director is looking for, more like build on that and go for something even more spectacular. But the physics of it, you're trying as best you can to make sure that weight and mass get conserved so that your brain doesn't say that looks too light or it moves too fast. But otherwise, then it's a lot of dramatic license trying to both hit the audience's expectation of real and what the director is trying to push it for dramatic effect. Just the fact that we had lived to tell the tale, that was a big part of it. It was a lot of data and many months in many cases for the largest shots, and so it was almost like giving birth at that point. So tremendous sense of relief in some cases, and of course the thing is you're so close to it when you're watching it that you can't really see anything except all the flaws or things that you'd want to change, and then you see it a few months later or something. It's like, oh well, that's really kind of cool. So that's kind of the happy part, is to see it after the fact and feel like, okay, that was worthwhile.
It seems to me that the worst is over.